Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're looking at a Flicker Strike revamp. It's basically a 20% chance to generate Frenzy Charge on hit, which means we need to take advantage of that by not going Raider Ascendancy or the other conventional ways to generate Frenzy Charge like Red Trails, Terminus, and Auros. We are abusing the new Berserker Ascendancy and the Berserker Gem. We're also going full physical damage, and this allows us to cover more defense and invest less currency to achieve the same DPS as a total on a metal conversion build. Overall, this character was a pain in the ass to put together. GGG has introduced a large amount of bugs and whatnot with all the new mechanics, patching a new one every 3 or 4 days, and it was very difficult to figure out what was intended and what was a bug. As of today, July 1st, this is the best version I could come up with, and I will try to update it if GGG fixes more stuff or changes skills in any other way. The pros of this build are The pros of this build are as follow: an insane clear speed, obviously we're playing Flicker Strike, melting the content with minimal currency because, yeah, we can do it. It can tank Shaper Slam pretty well, and it can also do Legion army fight with a decent speed, without the help of a Headhunter, which cannot be said of all the builds right now. The cons are also there. It can be very clunky at lower level. When you're playing a character that is not top tier or around level 80, you will feel like Flicker Strike is extremely clunky, and it's totally normal. If you don't pay attention at certain places, you will die. I will explain the mechanics in the build. The Porcupine mobs are a pain in the dick. There's no way around it since we're playing full physical. There's basically defensive mechanics we're gonna have to use, and once you press your defensive cooldown, you're good, but they're still a pain. There will be more gameplay at the end of the video. If you're done with the build guide, you can skip ahead and just go see what kind of playstyle, if it's for you or not. And yeah, let's get into the build. Alright guys, I'll try to not make this too long, but it's going to be hard because there's a lot to cover. If you got in-depth question about something, just ask me in the comments. I'll try to answer as soon as I can. There's certain things I think I need to explain to you before we get started with the items and everything. Basically we're going to use the Berserker Ascendancy because the damage is straight up bunkers, and it allows us not to invest as much in DPS because the Ascendancy itself is taking everything into account. Now, there's reason why I chose certain nodes over others, and I will explain them right now because you guys are probably going to ask questions. I chose Blitz over Rite of Runes. Strictly talking, multi-strike as of now, July 1st, does not work with the rage generation. Okay, every time you're trying to rage generate with multi-strike, even I know there's a 0.3 seconds that you can't generate, you can generate rage every 0.3 seconds. I know that, and even taking that into account, like the 3 hits you're gonna give with multi-strike are not taken into account for your rage generation, and this hinders us a lot. Basically, it takes, when you're up to 50 rage, your map is almost done. Okay, so all the advantage you're supposed to get from your rage generation, you just don't get them most of the time. Especially on boss like Shaper, you'll never get as much rage as you need to be effective. That's why I chose Blitz. We're a critical strike character, so people might say it's counterintuitive, but trust me, it's really worth it. In clear speed, in damage, it's worth it because, yeah, you lose some critical strike chance, but you're still over 50%, and the attack speed it will give you way outclass the loss of critical strike chance. So Blitz Charge are the way to go here. There's 2 ways to approach a Flicker Strike character. Either you gotta make him super tanky because you will get one-shot by everything, because you gotta understand, if you've never played Flicker Strike, you're always into the mob's face. Okay, any hard boss, any Legion mob that hit hard, they will hit you because you're flickering right on their face. You cannot be closer than that. And so Aspect of Carnage gave us 40% more damage, but we're also taking 10% increase damage, which is hard. And since there's 2 ways to approach it, either mitigate the damage or evade the damage. And I felt like in her position in the tree, it was easier for us to just try to mitigate the damage any way possible. Since we're going Berserker, if I was playing a Raider or a Pathfinder, I might have gone for evasion, even maybe a Slayer. But with Berserker and the way the game is, you'll understand why I went to choose this thing. So I'm going to start by explaining I think right now, normally I show you guys the item, but I think it's better if I start by the gems. It will help you understand the mechanics behind the build. So basically what we do to mitigate the damage is using... we're going to use Arctic Armor to mitigate a big part of the damage, so 12% reduced damage from physical damage taken. We're also going to use Berserker. Okay, this is what made me chose this over everything, like over any other type of character. It's this freaking thing. It's so powerful because people think it's only a boost in DPS. Granted, it will give you an insane amount of damage, but that's not why we use it. We use it because there's 19% less damage taken. So that makes the 10% more damage increase from the Berserker ascendancy not relevant, because you basically have double that and less damage taken. So it's a very powerful gem, and this is what I use to tank Shaper Slam and the Legion mobs. For those of you who don't know, Legion mobs seems to do, because people are talking in the Reddit channel and the Reddit forums, and it's controversial a bit, but most people agree they're doing physical damage in a weird way. They're probably stacking a lot of physical damage on top of it, so it's a lot of small hits. Bottom line is they hurt a lot. Like, they kill characters with 8k health. You need a way to mitigate the damage, and Berserker takes care of that for us. You press Berserker and they don't die. This is you don't die. This is also the way for us to not die to porcupines, because if you're playing a full physical character right now in 3.7 patch, porcupines are a pain in the dick because there's not a lot of way to evade them. Usually player would just go with Immortal Call, cast when damage taken, but we can't do that anymore because they changed it. Even if you go endurance charges, I've tested it, it's not enough to block a good porcupine with decent DP, like a decent mod on the map. They're still going to kill you. You need to use your awareness, so I know it's hard when you're flickering around, so that's one of the cons of the build. If you see a porcupine, most of the time, if there's a yellow in the pack or it's a blue pack, you need to use Berserker, okay? I died a couple times to this before I start understanding how it works, but once you get it, it goes smoothly. All right, so don't hesitate to press Berserker. Also, this thing, even if you have like 5 or 6 rage, it's still gonna be there for like 3 seconds. It lasts a very long time. I wasn't expecting it to last this long, so use it a lot. So for our main setup, we're going to go for a multi-strike. Obviously, we don't really have a chance. We don't really have a choice, sorry. Melee Splash, Flicker Strike, Close Combat, Fortify Support, and Brutality. There was a glitch, I think, that Close Combat would just simply not register when you were flickering around. I've tested it at lower level. It was straight up doing nothing. It seems to be fixed right now. I feel the damage is there. So I'm leaving it as is. Right now it feels comfortable. So Close Combat, increase duration, cast when damage taken, and Steel Skin. Okay, this is a combo where you can only put when you start having decent health. Okay, so where you're at like 5,000 and more, you can put a Steel Skin in. The reason for that is you need your cast and damage taken. I put mine at level 17 and my Steel Skin at level 19. And my Steel Skin at level 19, it gives us like a 2,000 extra life that we have, so it makes us even more tanky. Faster attack, leap slam, and frenzy. I strongly recommend to put blood magic in there instead of frenzy. I'm just lazy. Would really helps for moving around the map. War Banner, Pride, Arctic Armor, and Lighten to help for the combo. And also here we got our Berserker, Ancestral War Chief, Blood Rage, and yeah, that covers it. So this is the gem we're going to use. I won't explain every choice I made because it's going to take forever. There was a lot of testing involved for a week, so just take my word for it. For items, now this build is not crazy expensive, but it can be. I tried to push it to the utmost, not the utmost limit, but I mean sink in some currency, see if I was going to see a difference. I didn't. Okay, everything expensive I have in this build, just don't buy it. You don't need it. It can be crazy cheap and still blow up the entire game, so just don't. For the weapons, yeah, they're pretty, like I said, they were expensive, but most of the testing you guys see on screen I didn't do with those weapons. It was just an end game thing. I wanted to see what kind of damage I could put out, and didn't make that much of a difference. So try to go for as much physical damage as you can. Pause the video if you need to. Both my weapons are like that. The precursor emblem, this is my way, okay, because this is a perma frenzy generation build, which means you don't have to swap the Vial, double strike, or anything else to do bosses. You just keep flickering. You enter the boss and you flicker and he dies. My way to generate that was to get this precursor emblem, okay? It gave me 30% chance to gain a frenzy charge, to up to my maximum number of frenzy charge. It's a very powerful ring. 15% does the trick. I prefer 30. If you feel like it's not comfortable, just get 2 precursor ring. Like you can see here, I do not have any like flat damage or anything. I just have my poacher's mark on the hit, which is not that much needed. Okay, you need to manage your mana a bit. I'll show you how. So yeah, it's one of the options you got, but personally I got the 30% chance to gain your maximum number of frenzy charge. Another way to perma generate your things is to get one of the eternal I'm not sure I got one in my, do I? No, I don't. Okay, so we all know about the timeless jewel by now. There is one from the timeless the Eternals. Just check on it online on the wiki. There's one of the Eternals that basically grants you a 10% chance to grant frenzy charges on hit. That's another way to generate your frenzy charge on boss. For me, it was too much of a struggle because it was blocking my nodes and everything was a pain in the dick. But that's another way. So, there. I know I had one. So you just put this in your build somewhere and check your nodes around, and there's probably going to be one with 10% chance to generate frenzy charge on hit. You go get it, and now you're at 30% to generate frenzy charge on hit. Okay, so this precursor ring is not needed, but I strongly recommend at least a 15% chance to gain frenzy charge. All right. For my amulet, I just went straight up. Try to get life everywhere. That's the main thing, and cover your resist. As you can see, I don't have any DPS anywhere else than my weapon. I like those. Everything here is like under 30 chaos. It's all shit gear. My helm is also shit. Got some accuracy. My same thing here for my gauntlet: accuracy, life, resistance. I went for Stygian Vise, but it's not necessary. Little flat damage. Cam's Roots. It's not okay. It's not needed, but it kind of is because we're not going for the life here. It's just we have extra jewel gem spots, so might as well use the Cam Roots. Also takes care of the problem from us being stunned, because you don't want to get stunned when you're flickering around. It's very important. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the items. There's flasks. You go for a diamond flask. This is an instant one. You can go for just a regular eternal. Granite's Roar. Basalt flasks needed because the Liege mob they hit really hard. Onslaught, critical strike chance is lucky. Diamond flask, bleeding, freezing. Okay, everything you need to take care of your general mapping. So this is it for the items. Okay. Now, when you're playing Flicker Strike, there's something very important. It's your mana management. Flicker Strike is very mana expensive, and it was a pain in the dick to manage. If you guys are just starting, you do not have the currency to sink in or anything, just go Blood Magic up to Mortal Conviction and play with Pride. Okay, start with that until you get decent currency. It's going to be a lot easier for you to just not manage your mana. And once you get to a certain level, don't bother trying to reduce your mana. I'm going to link the path of building for the passive trees, so you guys, or you can pause the video or whatever. But basically the way I did it was this really helped. 15% to total mana costs, and Socketed Gems by MAME is going to help for DPS a lot. This is a chest I highly recommend more than anything else, and this was my way to generate my mana, because you gotta go full way to have enough mana, because we're flickering very fast, and this is a thing in the past that we didn't need because of the blitz strike, whatever. Just trust me on this. Poacher's Mark on hit here, minus mana costs, and I like to really feel comfortable on bosses, because we want to flicker on bosses. I had to get minus +2 mana gain for each enemy hits by attack on every single jewel I had here. You're gonna see in the path of building, I think I got 3. So that's 6 mana that I gain every time I hit a mob. Okay? So every time I hit a mob, it's mana. So this is the way I managed to flicker permanently without being a hassle. It's surprisingly cheap. I thought it would cost me a fuck ton of money, but it's like 10 chaos per jewel. So once you got the money for it, you got a currency for it, just go buy some. Otherwise, in the meantime, go Mortal Conviction. It'll save you a lot of trouble. Other than that, we're focusing on critical strike chances, and you're gonna see this build is really smooth. But well, you probably saw in the video, it's very smooth. This thing is another expensive jewel you do not need. It's optimal, but not required. Like I said, I tested everything, so I wanted to see if it made that much of a difference. It doesn't. Basically adding a bunch of crit multi, and also giving us like 5 or 6% physical damage reduction. Physical damage reduction is pretty nice, but even if you get more, because this jewel is insane, it's like 2 exalt, it's so very expensive, but you can achieve the same result by just bumping your health by a lot. And since my gear is very shit, if you have 2 exalt to invest, you can just get better gear than I do and just get like a fuck ton more health. And my character currently is level 90, so if you manage to get it to 93, you can easily pump this thing to like 6,500 or something. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the build. It was super smooth, super comfortable once I managed to put everything together. But before that was a huge pain in the dick. So right now, Flicker Strike is clunky to level with. Once you get into endgame, it takes care of the problem of clear speed, because as strong as Cyclone is, in my opinion, the clear speed is still shit. People do huge AoE, but it takes forever to get from one mobs to another. It's really not in my area of map clear, but Flicker Strike takes care of that. We're flickering around super fast. I loved it. I one-shot bosses. I do my map extremely quick. It was just super nice to play. Like, I recommend it to everybody. Thank you for watching. If you want to stick around, you're going to see my Shaper kill, and I'll probably throw in maybe a Legion fight or something. So you guys enjoy it. If you got any questions, just leave it in the comment.